recent months, we've seen Accra's waste management system on the brink of collapse, followed unsurprisingly by a massive outbreak of cholera. This has prompted a long overdue cleanup of the city by the authorities. It's also led to the emergence of a group of concerned citizens who are tired of the status quo.
We came together as a group, we formed ourselves, like I said, on social media, and we decided that we wanted to have a conversation with the mayor of Accra. Not simply to tell him the obvious, because surely he must know what his job is, but also to suggest something. Sanitation is not rocket science. I mean, urbanization is normal everywhere around the world, and mayors and people deal with this. So there's best practice out there. Accra is really not that unique. What we found utterly bewildering was the lack of communication. What is the plan? Is there actually a master plan for Accra? What can we as individuals do? Because it's easy to blame the mayor and it's easy to blame the service providers. But as individuals, we also have a responsibility. I don't know what to do. Reduce, reuse, recycle. Well, how?
As a means of managing waste, garbage separation and recycling are practiced in all major cities around the world, but not so here. In Ghana, our waste is an unholy mix of plastic, glass, tin cans, food, fabric, and feces. You name it, it's there. And the worst of all is plastic. It destroys our beaches, clogs our landfill sites, and chokes our drains. People use this place as a garbage dump. I mean, really, we should be ashamed of ourselves. I mean, someone's got to take responsibility for this. Every single one of us. Just look at that.
Every time you're sitting in your car, in a taxi, in a trotro, and you discard a piece of paper, a plastic bag, sachet water, this is what you're contributing to, and it will come back to bite us, and we've seen it.
Now, the plastic waste itself is not like banku or like orange or like banana or like kenke peel. When it is littered, it will degrade by itself. It doesn't degrade. It will be there as long as time itself.
The basic problem, the way I see it, is the mindset of the people. It's a problem. Again, we'll be making little efforts here and there to try and encourage people to dispose of them properly or in an organized manner so they don't end up choking our gutters and stuff like that. That is also become a little difficult because attitudinal change doesn't come easily.
But the fact is people really don't have bins. I mean, isn't that part of the problem?
Yes, it is an issue because if people don't have the bins to dispose of their waste, naturally they end up littering on the street. However, the fact that the bins are not available is also not a license for you to indiscriminately litter along our street.
The ministry plans to distribute 1 million free bins to citizens over the coming months. Citizens must take responsibility for their actions, says the minister, and the lawlessness must stop. Clean Ghana Now has another plan in mind. They point to what they call corporate polluters, the manufacturers of sachet and bottled water.
I mean, you can see the types of bottles and sachets that are on the beach. They're all branded. There is something fundamentally wrong with the laws of Ghana that allows somebody to bring in PET and says, I charged you a tax and you're done. Best practice requires that in other countries, these companies working with local assembly, working with others, would put together some system to recycle. The corporate companies, knowing that anywhere else but in Ghana, you're not allowed to do this. So yes, it may not be on the laws of Ghana, but it is really in your corporate conscience, your brand consciousness to do the right thing.
Mobile Water was the pioneer of sachet water in 1997. We spoke to its managing director, Magnus Nunu.
I pay my taxes I can enumerate them. To start a business that I have, you need about 10 different permits, 10.
Your product is, whether you like it or not, is all over the place, choking drains. It is your product.
Pollution per se, I mean, plastics themselves don't litter. It's human beings who litter.
Before jumping to conclusions, let's give credit where credit is due. Given the menace it's become, some years ago there was talk of banning sachet water altogether. The water industry was quick to respond.
We met together and worked out a long-term plan. Sachets all over the place. How do you get rid of it? But it's also a commodity. We could turn it from trash to being a commodity.
Funded by the water producers, the initiative grew into what today is called the National Waste Management Program, and it's run by Crunchy Tete.
When we started, there was no recycling company in Ghana. But over the period now, as we speak now, we have over 20 recycling companies. In Accra alone, in Accra and Tema alone, we are close to about 8 to 10 recycling companies. And these recycling companies are buying plastic waste from the collectors and they are recycling into other products. So if you ask me, recycling is a viable business.
Bulk collector Stephen Ado makes an excellent living collecting plastic waste and selling to recyclers.
In the morning, we take car and go around and buy. We reach here, we weigh and pay the person, and go different place, we weigh and pay the person.
But pay who? This one, if you see something on the floor like that, for nobody, who are you paying? When you are collecting it?
So we have people to collect it, and I go around and pay them.
I'm listening to you talking about this plastic everywhere on the floor, plastic, blocking the gutter, blocking. Why do you think people put plastic on the drink water is dropping?
Think I say, where a ball and to me, and your ball. Pure water, rubber sister, my sister be trying to see. Have you want to grab? Mr. This is Sanchez, when I was pure water, rubber, and you do up. Oh, you do up. But I for me. And one of my sweet to say, but I care when you know a scar. But we way out back at home, a scar. Bottle cover, a scar. I'm telling me about school fees, me back to school, Papa.
Now,
and the mommy here done me too much.
We don't know.
Or done me too much.
One of his biggest clients is Top Industries, who process 7 tons of waste plastic a day.
These plastic bags here on the floor,
Yes.
you are buying them from people,
Yeah.
and you use it to do what?
When we buy this one,
Yeah.
we reprocess it.
Okay.
And at the end of the day, this is the product we have.
This is what comes out.
Yeah.
Plastic pellets made from water sachets and black carrier bags that will be melted down to form new products.
So the quantity has become very small. Plenty bag becomes small like this, right?
When I process 1 ton, I will not have my 1 ton back. I'll be having somewhere 400 kilo.
So it means the quantity is coming down. So
Yes.
it's good like that because you are reducing the amount of plastic all over the place.
Yeah. You know, now our real problem we are facing here is separation. Because I can tell you that sometimes when we buy this thing, there are some things I cannot say it.
Yeah.
Because things that we normally see inside what we buy.
Inside the plastic.
If you are not strong, you can never.
Because people go to toilet even in plastic and they throw away.
If you know
It's
that
confusion.
plenty things.
Yeah.
But
So,
when they bring, we have to sort it out.
so you are saying like if we were doing separation, like all that can be done before it comes
Before
to
it comes to me.
So we have to work on separation.
Yeah. We have to educate people in how to separate the plastic waste.
Separation of waste is key to recycling. A pilot project at Zongo Junction is encouraging citizens to separate waste at source, and it's proving highly effective.
What's a plastic and what's a plastic and what about no? Aden, what are you adding?
Bibato.
Bibeton. Bibeton plastic.
Oyi.
Aye.
Oyi. Oyi ya bi ntoi. Ya
Na wait.
kola oyi.
Aye. Nti we yan wa infa na we yan we.
Mi ko chima.
Wo ko chima na wo so sa. Wo chima na wo so sa we. Nti we wo bet boa no pia na sisi wo betumi aton no sa.
Mi ba boa no. Ba du ha. Ana mi ba to.
Now they've seen that there's money inside. People are coming with the trucks and then buying them.
And collecting the
Yeah,
plastic.
that's it. So they've been getting some tokens from this when they gather the, especially the plastics.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. And you, what is your role? I mean, what you are?
I'm the commander of the guards.
What guard?
The plastic waste.
Funded by the private sector, there are 80 guards in various communities across the city, educating the public and encouraging the separation of waste. And it's paying dividends.
Formally, when it rains, you will not see. You can't even get a way to come in this very community. The gutters are choked, water flowing everywhere. But now, because of this separation, water is flowing through the drain.
This private sector initiative currently involves almost 2,000 people, and clearly it's having an impact. Just look at the streets of Zongo Junction. But in reality, it's just a drop in the ocean. To be meaningful, it needs to be replicated and scaled up massively. But it can't be done without government support. The money to do it is there. In 2011, an environmental tax was introduced in which all plastic coming into the country attracts a 10% duty. According to the Act, that money raised is to be used to dispose of plastic waste. So far, 35 million cedis has been raised, but not one peso of it has been spent.
The law mandates the Minister of Environment, in conjunction with the Minister of Finance, actually to manage the funds. We went there, we said, well, we have been doing this private sector initiative, there's a limit to which we can go. So we are aware of these funds. And they knew that there's a fund available, but then they said the thing is locked up out there.
So
and you have to go through a process to get it, and your guess will be as good as mine when it comes to accessing it. But we are still pushing.
A recent meeting with the Minister of Local Government leaves Kranchi cautiously optimistic.
The minister has agreed that he is going to put a case forward to the Ministry of Finance to release these funds for this purpose.
To be used by who?
To be used by the various stakeholders, the various assemblies, the various collectors, the various recyclers, to be able to boost their businesses.
What about the issue of producing plastic that is biodegradable?
There was a cabinet memo to actually make sure that all plastics are biodegradable. They're going to add an additive, a chemical that will make the plastic to degrade over time.
So why aren't people using that additive?
Legislation. You just need to come up with a legislation to say that putting in the additive is compulsory.
So there isn't legislation.
There's no legislation.
Plastic is a menace, and there's no question that recycling has a major role to play in solving the city's waste management crisis. Yet bureaucrats drag their feet, and cholera rampages on. It makes no sense. It's time for citizens not only to demand action, but to be actively involved in it.
It is not enough for the mayor and for the vice president to turn up at night in front of the TV cameras and lift garbage. It will be back tomorrow. The people who are putting the garbage out are you and I. And we're putting it out because either we don't know or we think we have no options. I disagree. We should know and we should be given options. Accra alone generates about 3,000 tons of waste, solid waste, a day. That didn't fall from the sky. It came from my house, your house, and somebody else's business. So I have a responsibility, and that's just the point of Clean Ghana. It is that let's do it individual by individual, street by street, community by community, district by district. We need to hold hands. We've all got to work together at the same time and have a plan.